everybody. My name's Jessica and I am here today to guide you through a delightful, slow Yin Yoga practice where we're going to hit all of the things that might feel a little uncomfortable if you've been sitting at a desk a lot lately. I encourage you to put on some relaxing music. I won't be playing any music today. And also gather any props that you might need. If you happen to have a bolster or some yoga blocks, awesome. If you don't have a bolster and some yoga blocks, think about bringing some cushions from your couch, some big fluffy pillows, maybe a blanket or a towel that you can fold over for a little bit of lift, or even rolling that up to create some structure as the block would bring. So we've got a delightful 45-minute practice coming to you right now. Grab some water before we get started. We're going to try not to have any water breaks during class. If you have to have one, please honor yourself as best as you can. And then we're going to come into kneeling for our first posture of the day. Okay. Feel free to bring a prop with you for kneeling. You can come into this posture as much or as little as honors your body. Maybe you want to have your feet directly underneath of you, sitting on top of your heels. Maybe you need to bring something under your glutes to be a little bit lifted. If you don't have a block and you're finding a lot of pressure in your knees, take a towel or something thin and just place it behind the back of your legs, and that can help you to find some relaxation. All right. So come into the posture that works best for you today. Find some grounding of your glutes down into whatever surface you have chosen. Relax your hands wherever feels comfortable for you. Start to relax your shoulders away from your ears and come into your breath. Work to create a long, slow, deep inhale, anywhere from 4 to 6 seconds. And make your exhale slightly longer than your inhale to start to slow your heart rate down. Feel free to close your eyes. If you do decide to keep your eyes open, softly find one spot to gaze. If your eyes are moving, your mind is moving. Just taking this time to focus on yourself and your breath. Start to scan your body from head to toe and notice where you might feel any particular tension or squeezing. Maybe pinching your eyebrows or pursing your lips. Maybe drawing those shoulders up towards your ears on your inhale, which is a big sign of stress. Maybe extra squeezing of your glutes. Just work to relax as much as possible here. Relaxation is a big goal of your Yin practice today, as is stillness. We're going to be holding postures for a little bit longer than a Yang practice, which is primarily targeting your muscles and activating your muscles. In Yin, we're working a little bit deeper into the fascia, ligament, tissue, bones, everything in and under the skin. So holding posture slightly longer, you'll still want to find a stretch, come to your edge, but make sure that you're not feeling any sort of pain. If you do find that some of these longer stretches become painful, come back to your breath, focus on your exhale, and feel free to back out slightly and then come back into stillness. If Yin is a new practice to you, you might find it incredibly hard to stay still, to really just focus on the present in this moment right now. Consider even counting your breath and keeping those eyes closed. It's normal as we hold postures for longer that you might even notice some shaking or some trembling. Honor that moment. Inhale in awareness of everything that's happening with you and your body. And just exhale out everything that doesn't serve you, all of our expectations. Just enjoy the present. right, next up we have big toe stretch. So you can keep your block underneath of your glutes if it was helpful for you. You're going to go ahead, come onto your hands, palms, tuck those toes under. Really walk your toes in towards your glutes. And then gently start to sit your hips back towards your heels. The closer that you get your hips towards your heels, the more that you start to lift yourself up, the more pressure that you're going to feel on the backs of your feet. We're going to be here for 2 minutes from right now, so find something that you can hold. Remember, we're working to come to the edge of what works for us, and then find stillness within that edge. If you're feeling any pain in your lower back, think about taking a little bit of a tilt of your pelvis, taking the rounding out of your back right here, pulling your chest forward, really pressing your finger pads or hands palms into the floor. You still have 1.5 minutes to be as still as possible. And we're here in Yin, so feel free to relax. Maybe your chin comes towards your chest once you've found that relaxation in your upper body, focusing mainly on the stretch created on the back of your toes. Last 2 to 3 breaths right here. Keep them nice and slow. Really use that exhale to relax, release any tension using your mind. Just imagine it feeling totally awesome. And change. Lift yourself up gently. Go ahead, uncurl those toes, tap your feet for just a second. We're going to move our prop from out under us. Next up is ankle stretch. So we're going to bring our knees together. Work to get your toes pointing directly behind you. We're going to bring our hands behind us, close towards our feet. We've got 1 minute right here where you're going to press the tops of your feet into the floor. Your knees might even lift up. If that's uncomfortable for you, you can always keep your knees down. Might be a little bit more of a stretch in the glutes. Feel free to open up that chest right here. Find what feels good. Relax your eyes, relax your mind. Back to your breath. Find that stillness right now. One more nice, long, slow breath right here. And then go ahead and change. Walk your hands back in. We're going to shift our hips to the right and come on to our glutes. As we come into Sukhasana, you might want to take a moment before we come into easy pose to just stretch your legs out in front of you, bob your feet, windshield wipe your knees. And then we're going to come into a cross-legged seated position of your choice. Now, depending on how tight your knees are, you might find that you want to use a prop right now. If your knees are coming all the way up towards your shoulders, sitting on something like a block or even just a folded towel can help you find that slope of those knees down towards the floor. Let's take a moment right here in Sukhasana. We'll take 1 minute just with our breath, and then we'll come into some twists. So if you're feeling any pain in your lower back, find that slightly forward tilt of your pelvis and keep your hands grounded on your knees so you can have a nice straight flat back. If not, feel free to find a little bit of even a schlump right here. Just finding what works best for your body. Back to your breath, back to that stillness. Make sure that you're not creating tension in your head by keeping your chin lifted or stretching up towards the ceiling at all. Maybe even allowing that chin to hang heavy down towards your chest. Nice work. All right. Go ahead, ground those sit bones into the floor. Take a moment, pull your belly in, draw your shoulders away from your ears. Find some length through the crown of your head and bring your right hand fingertips close by the base of your spine. Press them into the floor to keep that lift of your chest sternum, that length between your vertebrae. Go ahead, walk your left hand fingertips maybe over to the outside of your right knee, maybe by your hip, maybe just relaxing on your calf, but find as much of a stretch right now, as much of a comfortable reach as you can. Then one more time, ground your sit bones, pull your belly in, stretch up on your inhale and use your exhale to gently twist towards the right. You might want to use a couple of breaths to inhale up and exhale towards the back. Maybe even taking a little bit of a bend of your right elbow to find a spine twist here, but make sure that you're keeping a little bit of length in your spine and not collapsing down. 1 minute right here in this twist. So working on those big, full, deep belly breath. Make sure that you're breathing all the way down to expand your diaphragm, not just working at the top of your chest in your lungs. If you find that you can't get that big breath, you might have come too deep into the stretch, so feel free to back out just a little bit. Come back to your big breath. Let your breath, your pranayama, be the number one guide of today's practice. Take another deep inhale, lift up, find that length. And on your exhale, slowly, gently take your time. Come back around to center. As you get there, bring your fingertips behind your spine of your left hand. Find that pressure down towards the floor. Lift up your chest. Bring your right hand fingertips over to the left side of your body. Suck your stomach in. Ground your sit bones. Lift up like a string is lifting your chest sternum. Take a deep inhale. And on your exhale, slowly, gently twist towards the left. Back to your breath. You've got 1 minute right here. Finding the edge of your stretch and hanging out at that edge. Both sides of our body are not the same, so be kind to yourself and just enjoy whatever it is that you can bring to your practice today. And remember, it's just practice. It's not perfect, and it doesn't need to be. Last 2 breaths right here. Take your time, slowly, gently come back to center. From here, we're going to enjoy some half dragonfly. So keep your left leg where it is. Go ahead, extend your right leg out in front of you. You might want to bring some props with you. So take a big reach for your big pillows or your blocks or any of that jazz. As we first come into half dragonfly. Again, think about finding that forward tilt, but not coming forward so much that your sit bones lift up off of the floor. If your lower back is hurting, bring your hands palms to the floor in front of you and keep an active lift of your chest sternum and an openness of your chest. If you're not having any pain in your lower back and you'd like to come forward, go ahead, bring yourself down. Still keeping those sit bones ground to the floor. We're going to spend 4 minutes right here in half dragonfly with the forward fold. Feel free to use your hands to place underneath of your chin to prop yourself up. Working to create a big stretch on the back of your legs, and if you took a forward fold, you might feel that stretch on your back. If you're using a prop, you might even feel some stimulation of your internal organs as the prop presses in towards your belly. Once again, do that total body scan from head to toe. This is yin, so no need to flex your toes back towards your face. Your toes can start to curl down towards the floor. And just breathe. This is a beautiful time to take notice of your breath. How quiet can you make this slow, relaxed breath? And with your quiet breath, just notice the extra sounds that you hear in your space when you are just so focused, so quiet yourself. Maybe you hear your music playing, but what's the furthest away sound that you can hear in the room? Last 3 to 4 breaths right here. Find that stillness. Stay in the moment. And use your exhale to slowly, gently, taking your time, lift yourself up. As you come up, bring your hands behind you, draw your right leg up, ground your right foot into the floor, ground your left foot down towards the floor. Take a moment, just windshield wipe those knees. Right and left, as much as feels good for you. Very nice. Let's go ahead and come into half dragonfly on the opposite side. Just kicking that leg out as much as feels comfortable for you today. And everyone's body is different, so some people might have a very wide dragonfly. Maybe your heel's all the way in towards the center line of your body. Maybe you're taking it easier on yourself and bringing your leg further across your body. Just taking the time to really honor what feels best for you today. Yoga is such a personal practice. It doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. Just taking this time to focus inward on yourself, your mental, your physical health. We've got 4 minutes right here on the opposite side. Find what feels good. Finding that stretch on the legs right now, the back of the leg. And everything else is just easy breezy. Taking this time in stillness is very normal for thoughts to pop into your head, things that you need to do, things that you haven't done, things that you've said to someone that are just on your mind. Come back and honor that this is your you time, to focus on yourself. So honor that these thoughts popped into your head. Inhale in the awareness of the moment. And then just exhale, let it go. Come back to you, to your breath, to your stillness, to being as present as possible right here, right now. You've created this time for yourself already. So honor yourself during it. Remember, it's normal to feel some twitching and some trembling through your legs. We're staying as still as we can, decreasing and eliminating the intentional things that we do when we're feeling uncomfortable. Like reaching for water, scratching our heads if possible, just being fidgety. However, these trembles and shakes, these things that are involuntary, that are happening as you're finding those deeper stretches, that's absolutely normal and okay. Even if you find yourself fidgeting, as long as you continue to set an intention to come back to your stillness. Remember, this is a practice and it isn't perfect and every day is different, and it all depends on things like how did you sleep? How did you eat? What is going on with your work life, your personal life? And these things do impact our practice and our mental and our physical selves, but taking this time to focus inwardly can really just help so much. Even just the breath. Finding a way to change your mental channel to something different. Last minute right here. Take one more long, slow, deep breath. And then slowly, gently lift yourself up. Let's go ahead and move this prop out of the way. Bring your hands and feet back to the floor. And once more, windshield wipe your legs in opposite directions. Okay, next up, we're going to come into extended child's pose. So take your time coming onto your hands and knees. You can think about opening those knees nice and wide. You might want to bring a prop with you. Again, for extended child's pose, some people find it uncomfortable to keep their head relaxed all the way down towards the floor. You can get a little bit of draining of the mucus into your head. We're going to spend a total of 5 minutes in extended child's pose, and I'm going to give you an optional additional stretch as we get a little further. Our first 3 minutes are right here with your arms stretched as far forward as feels good for you today. If it doesn't feel good for you to stretch your arms all the way forward, feel free to take a bend of your elbows, maybe even bringing your hands palms all the way back by your heels. And just breathe. As you come back into your breath right here, scan your body again from head to toe. Notice if you're creating an extra squeeze of your shoulders. Can you use your inhale to think about creating space between your vertebrae? And your exhale to just relax any tension. It's very normal if you have a spot that's typically tense for the tension to continue to come back. I'm really good at wearing my shoulders as earrings, so I really need to use my breath as a reminder to find some relaxation and some space there. And also I tend to tense my glutes a lot, so using my exhale to release in the glutes as well. That's why it's so important to scan your body from head to toe to find where you might be holding tension. And work to create relaxation and release through your breath. If you're not having discomfort in your shoulders and you'd like to create a little bit more of a stretch through your back, we're going to go ahead and use a prop in front of us to lift up your elbows. Bring your fingertips towards your neck. And then relax yourself right back down into this child's pose. Child's pose with lifted elbows, fingertips stretching down. Past those shoulder blades if you have the access. Maybe your head doesn't quite touch the floor this time. Maybe your glutes are a little further away from your heels. Oh, just coming into a slightly different stretch. Maybe even feeling it through the armpits a little bit. And the chest, finding your edge, coming back to your stillness. We have 1 more minute right here. Take your time, slowly, gently extend those arms back in front of you. Next up we have melting heart pose. So we're gonna lift our hips up so that your hips stack on top of your knees. And you're gonna separate your hands nice and wide and bring your chest down towards the floor. If this is way too big of a stretch for you, you can think about bringing a block underneath of your chest. Different from child's pose because we're working to keep those hips on top of our knees. You can also make it a little bit easier by just folding one hand in. One hand in, maybe even placing your forehead on top of your forearm. Nice, just breathe it out. We're gonna spend 2 minutes right here. Right, 2 minutes, or is it? Yeah, 2 minutes. Really work to keep those hips stacked on top of the knees. Try not to let them sink back down. This is a big stretch in your chest, also in your upper back, upper mid back. So find that edge, come back to your breath, hang out right here. We got 1 more minute right here on this side. Really think about that heart melting down towards the floor, even creating space, separating your glutes. So your inner thighs might spiral slightly towards the back of the room, similar as they would in a down dog posture, to create this stretch on your back. Take 2 more breaths right here. And then change your arms. You might want to bring yourself forward just a little bit as you change your arms. And then come back into your stillness for another 2 minutes right here. Chest melting down towards the floor, hips up towards the ceiling, stacked right on top of your knees. Take your last 2 breaths right here in melting heart or puppy pose. Awesome. Walk those hands in. Get them underneath of your shoulders. You might want to walk your knees in just a little bit. We're going to come into cat-cow nice and slow. So tuck your chin towards your chest. Find some big rounding of your back as you look towards your knees, towards your belly button. Enjoy a full cycle of breath up here. And as you're ready, whichever feels best, on your inhale or exhale, we're going to change. So allowing your belly to come down towards the floor, tracing a line with your nose up towards the ceiling. Pull those shoulders away from your ears. Lift from your glutes. Full cycle of breath up here as well. And then change. Feel free now to move in your own time, but I encourage you to take your time. Really grounding your hands, palms, the pads of your fingers, even the tops of your feet into the floor. We're going to switch up our cat-cow here just a little bit. And instead of just finding this big rounding like a Halloween cat and our big arching like a cow, we're going to add some twists to the side. So come into a more neutral tabletop and go ahead, bring that left shoulder closer towards your left hip. Turn and look towards the back side of your mat. And then change to the opposite side. Right shoulder towards right hip. Slowly, gently turn your chin towards your shoulder and look behind you. Once again, just moving with your breath, taking your time right here. One more time to each side. Awesome. Go ahead and walk your hands in. This time we're going to come over to the left side just to be even Stevens. Go ahead, kick those legs out in front of you. We're going to lay ourselves down on our back. Get one more nice big stretch in our hip flexors with happy baby. Take your time lowering yourself down. Tuck your chin to your chest. Root through your shoulders, through your lower back. Draw that belly in and draw your knees up. Nice and wide. Flex your toes towards your face and send the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling. Depending on how flexible you're feeling today, you might just want to have your hands behind your knees. Maybe your hands on the back of your calves. Maybe you can reach all the way up and grab hold of your feet from the outside, from the inside, whatever feels good for you today. Even opening those knees a little bit wider, bringing them closer towards your chest. We're going to take our stillness here in happy baby. So if you need to, before you come into the stillness, roll a little bit towards the right and the left, finding what feels good for you today. Giving yourself a nice little massage of your lower back. That's fine. This is your practice. Do what feels right. And then go ahead, come into your stillness, tucking your chin slightly towards your chest to really get the back of your head and neck on the mat. Belly gently pressing into your thighs, again helping to stimulate our internal organs. Option here for the last minute to come into a bigger stretch on the back of your legs, extending through your heels for a big toe stretch. Nice work, beautiful stillness. Go ahead, bring those heels back together. Bring those knees in towards your chest. Take a moment, give yourself some circles with your knees in one direction, in the opposite direction. Go ahead, plant your feet down on the floor, knees pointing up towards the ceiling. Lift up your right leg, deeply cross it over your left. Really squeeze your thighs in towards each other. Stretch your arms out to the side and drop your legs over to the left. If it's uncomfortable for you to drop your legs over to the left, feel free to bring a prop in. Still squeezing those legs together, kind of like eagle eggs for a nice rooted twist. Last posture before our final savasana. Change slowly, gently. Come back onto your back. Switch your feet. Cross the opposite legs. You can roll onto your hip. Take your time. Remember, we're working to relax here. Release as you slowly come over to the left. This time turning your chin towards your left shoulder. Sorry, legs come to the right. I'm so zen. Back to your nice, super slow breath. Take your time on your exhale. Roll onto your back, uncross your legs, slowly kick your legs out in front of you. Feel free to open them as wide as you want. You can keep your arms open wide, or you can bring your arms in closer to the center line of your body as we come into our final savasana. We'll spend 3 minutes here together. However, if you have more time, I encourage you to spend at least 5 minutes in your final savasana. Just giving yourself the opportunity to really soak in your practice, to allow your heart rate to come back down to normal, to really relax, release, and appreciate everything that you've done for your mental and physical self and health right now. Continue to find those deep belly breaths all the way down past your belly button. And just enjoy the sensation of inhale, belly rises, nice and slow. And exhale, even slower, belly falls. If you have the time and you don't need to get up right now, again, I encourage you to just stay down here in your Savasana for as long as possible. If you need to move on, let's go ahead and close our class out together. Take your time, move with intention. Feel free to keep your eyes closed. As you come back to Sukhasana, to easy pose, a seated position of your choice. As you get there, go ahead and bring your hands, palms to the center of your chest. Tuck your chin to your chest. Take a moment, honor yourself. Thank you for making this time and space for yourself today. If you have any questions or concerns about anything that we said or did today, I encourage you to reach out. Continue to think good thoughts, eat good foods, speak good words, do good deeds, nourish yourself from the inside out. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.